Hello everyone, I decided to create a video about running Nutanix Community Edition nested on VMware ESXi. It's based on this blog post from me, but now on a video. And I'll explain every settings we need to do. So first on VMware, you need to have a look at the network or the security settings on the network. In this case, it's the port group where my virtual machine, the Nutanix node, will be installed on. So the security settings should be accepted on everything. Mine is inherited from vSwitch, so I can have a look at the vSwitch. And my security settings are all accepted. So promiscuous mode, MAC address changes, and the forward transmit. Make sure they are all accepted, or else you cannot access the controller VM from outside the network, outside the virtual environment. All right, let's create the virtual machine. I'm doing it locally on the ESXi machine. I'm not connected to any vCenter server, but that is all the same. It's just one node, one VMware machine. So I'm creating a new virtual machine. Give it a name like Nutanix Community Edition. The compatibility, just choose the latest. The guest OS family is Linux, and in my case it's CentOS 7. If you're running VMware 8, you can choose Rocky Linux 64 bits, where you want to place the data. So the CPU, make sure that you have 2 sockets, and how many cores per socket depends on how many you have available. Let's say I want to have at least 12. For the minimum is 4, but then it's very slow. So I will put it on 12 cores. So 2 sockets means 6 cores per socket, and we need to make sure that hardware virtualization is enabled. That's all for the CPU. The memory, what you can use. So minimum 32, but if you have more, please assign it more, because then you can run more virtual machines and do more with the Nutanix environment. In this case, we're just going to create a single node cluster. So if you're going to do it on 3 nodes, you have to do everything 3 times, and of course you need more memory available on the environment. Then the hard disk. This is the boot drive for AHV. It's a minimum of 32. I will give it a little bit more, like 64 gigabytes. I will select thin proficient. I do not have that much space on the storage on the ESXi server, so I will give it 64 gigabytes. Power virtual. It's the SCSI controller. You can leave that. You can remove the USB drive. That's not. The USB controller. That's not needed. The network adapter is in the network, which I just looked at for the security settings. vMixNet 3, that's all correct. On the CD drive, or the CD DVD drive, we make sure that the ISO for the Community Edition is mounted. That's all correct. Next, finish. So we got a virtual machine. We open up the settings again. Look at the CPU, is that all correct? That's correct. 2 cores, 6 sockets, 6 cores per socket. So the controller VM will get 6 vCPU. If you have 1 socket, it will, like 12 on 1, it will get 12 vCPU on the controller VM. And that can cause any problems. It can cause problems, so make sure that you have 2 sockets with the cores available. So we need to add an extra hard drive. That is for the controller VM. I'll give it 500 gigabytes. Of course, it will not use all 500 gigabytes for the controller VM. It just use a part of this disk for the controller VM. The rest will be used for data. And I will add another one. Oh, I did it twice, sorry. So make it like 1000 gigabytes or have a terabyte. That's all fine. I need to oh, I need to select thin provision or else it will not fit. Now the error is gone. It should be selected as well. All right, save. Last setting, just to check. Best compatibilities to have here BIOS. You can choose UEFI or AV. If you select UEFI, you need to make sure that Secure Boot is disabled. But for the best compatibility, just use BIOS. And the last one is the advanced settings, edit configuration. We need to add an additional parameter, and that is the disk enable UUID through. This will make sure that the disk serials are passed through to the virtual machine, and I will show you later in the installer. That's all for the basic setup. Now we can start it up. There's the installer, and there it goes. While the installer is booting, I will have some IP addresses here. So for the AHV, the hypervisor, I will use this IP address. And for AOS, that's the software running in the controller VM, so Acropolis operating system, I will use this IP address. I will start a ping here to both of those IPs. That's that one. And I will do it again here, 10.0.97.21 minus T. So that will continue to run. It will take a long time before we got a reply on that, but just leave it running here. And we have to wait until the installer boots. It can take a while. You can see some SMBIOS errors on the screen. You just can ignore that because we're running nested, and the installer cannot read that because we're running nested. So you can ignore that. And we have to wait for the install. I will pause the screen now and come back when the installer is there. And we're back with the installer booted. You can see that we have 3 disks, that's correct, and that all disk serials are populated and they are unique, so that's correct. If you don't have the serials, you forgot the parameter, which I explained. Let me scroll down here. That's this one. Then you forgot this. If these serials are not populated, you have to start over, add the parameter, and start the installer again. But we have them here. The hypervisor is the smallest drive. Then this should be the controller VM, so I press C, and this should be the data drive, so I press the D drive, the D button. So the host IP address, in my case 10.0.97.11, the controller VM 21, my subnet, yes, I got a /8 subnet, but this is my lab, so I don't care. All correct, yes, press enter. And then you wait. You think nothing is happening, but it will continue eventually, so we just have to wait. And then the end user license agreement pops up. We need to read everything, of course. Scroll down, select it, that you accept it, and press start. Now the installer will run. This will take approximately 20 minutes. I will leave the recording on so that you can see everything is happening, and I see you when the installer is done. So the installer is done. We need to reboot the node. Yes, of course you need to dismount the ISO file, eject. Can I do it like this? Will this work? Yeah, that will work. Okay, here it goes. So it will boot AH3. I have to wait a little bit. We get some reply somewhere. If it's correct, if everything is working as it should be. I just leave the recordings on so you can see every screen what's happening. I'm not pausing any recordings. I just leave it on so when we create the cluster later and we're starting all services, I will just leave it running so you can see. You can just fast forward if you want later, which you probably already did with the installer. I will just leave it on. I will just come back when we have the login prompt of AHV. Okay, we have the login prompt. Now we have to wait. You can see the prompt is a localhost login. The prompt will change. So you can see we have a reply on the AHV already, but no reply on the controller VM. Just wait. This is the RDMA setup script. We're not using RDMA, so that's throwing in a that's exiting the script. Let's press enter. Yeah, you can see the prompt is changed, so AHV is configured. Now it's not ready. As you can see, we don't have a reply yet on the controller VM. You have to wait. The controller VM will be booted and is running some first boot scripts. When we get a reply, you have to wait. It will reboot one more time. So I will leave the recording open and I'll come back when we have the first reply on the controller VM. That's on the bottom right. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. We have a reply. Just wait one more time because it needs to do his last reboot. Yeah, I'm scrolling up, so I'm going downwards again. So we have to wait until we got a what is the name? Timed out, destination host unreachable, and then it will reboot the controller VM one more time. And when we have a reply again, then we can configure the cluster. So we need to wait until all first boot scripts are fixed. So there the timeout is. We have to wait. Now the controller VM will boot and we can start creating the cluster. While we're waiting, we can log on to the AHV to see what's going on. Yeah, so the controller VM is running. We just need to wait until we got a reply again. It's booting. As I said in the beginning, the nested installations are not that fast. It all depends on the hardware you're running. I'm running an old G5, node. It's like an old Nutanix G5 node, which has VMware running, not that much memory, not the fastest CPU, and the disks are on the disk is an SSD drive, so it's not that fast, but it will work. We just have to wait. We're waiting for the top bottom right, sorry, till we have a reply back on the controller VM. I find it that it's taking a long time, but am I getting impatient today? It's still running. Let's see if the internal ISQC network is already replying. Not yet. We just have to wait. I just leave it up open. So I'm sending out a ping from the AHV internal network, the ISQC network to the controller VM, and on the bottom right, external to the controller VM. I just need to wait. Okay, I don't know what happened there. I just rebooted the complete virtual machine and I got a reply finally. I tried before I tried to do it in one take. I did it a couple of times, so maybe I crashed my, I don't know. Well, it's up and running. So let's start putty and create a connection to the controller VM. 10.0.97.21. Oh, typo there. Accepts this screen. So we need to log in with the Nutanix user, Nutanix/4u, default user. Watch Genesis status. Genesis is the service responsible for handling all services on the cluster. I'm waiting for foundation to come up, and then we can create the cluster. So we have to wait until foundation is up. There it is. Control Z, and now we can create the cluster. So we give the cluster create command. Well, I can leave this. Oh, good. That's the correct IP. Let's say it's a redundancy factor 0.1 because we only have one node. You can have replication factor 2 if you have 2 data drives and 2 controller VMs. I have a blog on that. Just search on my website and you can find it. We have to add the DNS servers. You can do it all later, but it's easier to do it now. 0.nl.pool.ntp.org. Just give them all. And the last one. And we should give it a cluster name. You can give the external IP as if you want. So the cluster virtual IP. I'm only using external IP. I'm only using one node, so it's not really for me. It's not. Yeah, well, if you want a Prism Central, etc., you need to install it. So I will just give it some IP as well, and of course should be 10 and not 100. Where am I? Space. Create, and there it is. If I didn't make a typo. Yeah, I did make a typo. Cluster -s redundancy factor 1 DNS service NTP service. That should. Oh, I see it. There's a typo in the IP address as well. 0. There it is. Nah. Command NTP. Sorry, guys. I don't cut this from the move. I just leave it open. Cluster name. Did you mean cluster name? Okay, I can remove the cluster name. Why did I make a typo? Cluster name is correct. Cluster Oh, cluster name. There it is. So it will create a cluster. This will take a while. All services will be started. Again, I just leave it open and I come back when the cluster is created and completely running. So lost services are starting up. As you can see, it's a long wait. Again, guys, when the CVM booted for the second time, I paused the video, so I was looking at what's going on. I only rebooted the complete virtual machine, just set a reboot here, and then it came up correctly. I don't know what happened there, but never seen that before, but I didn't want to do the complete recording again, so that's the only thing I did. Yeah, and then we created the cluster. So we have to wait a little bit more. Prism will probably, I don't see that it's waiting for Prism to start, so Prism will probably be up and running already. Of course, you cannot log in. Yeah, it's replying. So let's see, it's got the error or not a login screen yet. We need to wait. Oh, it was on Putty. Where is Putty? It's almost there. Running CE cluster post create script. Success. Okay, so the cluster is up and running. We should have a logon screen. There it is. So you need to log on with the admin account Nutanix/4u. If you're too fast, it will throw in an error and you have to wait a couple of seconds. Yeah, it's working. So we need to create a new password. A server error. See, I'm too fast, or we are too fast, guys. Okay, we need to wait. And probably it's logged out now. Yeah. See, we need to wait a little bit longer. Let's see. Yeah, here. I don't know if it's the, no, I didn't change it correctly, so it's the original one. This is looking better, so it's updated. And now we can log in with the new password. It will check with Nutanix. So the controller VM needs to have access to the internet. So let's go here. So it needs to be able to access nutanix.com or to validate your credentials. It has. So I'm pinging on a domain name, so I get an IP address back. So I know DNS is working and the gateway is correct. I can access the internet, so I get a reply back. So I can log in with my account. What is my password? Something like this. Yeah, that's correct. And there we have it. Got everything. AHV, got 64 gigabytes of memory, the CPU. I got a critical here, but that's correct. I got a single node cluster with only one drive for the data. I got 1 terabyte available. Got my storage pool with 2 disks. So that's the 1 terabyte data drive, and the remaining of the controller VM drive. So this is TB byte, so it's around 10% in terabyte, so it's 1.1 terabyte I have available. That's nice. So yeah, there it is. Now you can start configuring. If you want Prism Central, you can deploy Prism Central. It will fetch the data from the internet, which version is available, and it will download it and install it if you want. First you need to configure a network. So I'm running everything on VLAN 0. So let's say this is the VLAN 0 unmanaged. It's a basic VLAN. And now I can download and install Prism Central if I want. Let's say if I take this last, or I can go up this one, for example. Make sure you choose the correct one. If you want to play with flow, for example, and of course you should have enough memory available. Probably this will not fit in my cluster. I already got 37%, 38% of the 64, so that will not work. I need more memory, or I can choose the smaller one. This will work. Select them and give everything and install it. If you want, I can create an extra video about that, but for now I just leave it like this and have fun with your Community Edition cluster.